Today we're doing a little maintenance on the Fluval Spec. And we'll also take a look at the eLive Beta Aquarium Siphon. You can take that down now. Really? Really? Hello YouTube, this is Peck Tech, and today Alpha is going to show you some of the things we do to maintain our Fluval Spec. Now what we're going to show you today will work with any size spec that you have because they're basically the same components, but we chose this one because it was the easiest to carry. Well, yeah, that's true. That is very true, but it's also the very first of the specs that I purchased, so it's kind of special. So that's why I chose this particular one. Also today we're going to demonstrate a new product. It's the Easy Change Beta Aquarium Siphon. That still isn't funny. This thing. Sorry, one more time here. Let's take a look at the back. There. As you can see, it's a real simple device. And we're going to open it up right now and take a look at it. And then Alpha is going to put it into use, along with some other things that we like to do. We've used a lot of different things to siphon out the water. I've used my Python, although it always makes a mess. When you go to pull it out, if you don't do it really super slow, all the water goes right back in there and just kind of makes a mess. But you can do it if you're very careful and you're watching what you're doing. I've also used airline hose, and I had some. Here you go. Okay. So I've also used airline hose, but it's kind of gross. If you get it really long, you know, you can do it without getting any in your mouth, at least the first time. But see, the thing is, this is just kind of flimsy. It's hard to keep it in place and stuff, so I didn't like it either. So we've got this now, and we're going to take a look at it real quick. So let's open it up and see what it's made of. Okay, so as we pull it out, you'll see there's basically, it's like 4 components. 2 bits of hose. Woo! It's a pretty thick hose, actually. It's really thick. So we've got this piece, which is a siphon, and it's got a nice little grid there to keep from grabbing anything too big and clogging up the hose. That's pretty neat, actually. All right, if you look, it says in and out on here, and on the in, I'm going to put the really short hose. On the out, we'll put the longer hose. At the end of the short hose, I'm going to go ahead and put this in. This is kind of the gravel sweeper. And it's real tiny. It's interesting too because it's got this little grid there to keep from getting big debris in there and I guess clogging up the hose. This part you can squeeze and start a siphon. It's going to suck from here to there. And of course this goes into your draining bucket. I think it'll work well. Alright man, give it a try. Okay Alpha, now that you're fully equipped, tell us about cleaning this aquarium. Okay, gladly. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, of course, is unplug the heater and the pump, the water pump. So that's done. Next I'm going to remove this lid and set it aside for cleaning. You'll notice that the spec lid has an opening right in the middle. That's both to feed the fish and to let light through. This plastic cover will let some of the light through, but it's kind of thick, and over time it's gotten quite dirty. So I'm going to clean it up, but I just recommend just occasionally cleaning the dust off or the goop that you get on there. Okay, I've got 2 quick questions. One, do you have to change that filter out? No, you don't have to replace them, but you can buy replacements if you want to. And what might be a good idea is to keep one of these that you can quickly swap out for another one. Sometimes when I'm cleaning the filter, I want to take it out, and as long as you make sure that you keep your biological components, whatever your ceramic or whatever you're using, keep those components out, and you can switch this out if you want to just like quickly change your filter. What I normally do is just rinse this in the water that I drain out. Okay, and my second question, of course, is what tools do you recommend using for cleaning the spec specifically. Oh, okay, so I've got a few other tools here. I've got a bucket, of course. I've got a scraper. This is kind of huge, but I grabbed it. It's the first one I found. I also, some sort of siphon. Either we're using this newfangled siphon like we have today, or the water hose or the Python or whatever to siphon the water out. You're going to want some dechlorinated water, probably about a gallon of chlorinated water. And that's about it. That's all you need as far as the tools that you need to clean this. And next, I guess we're going to try out the siphon. A bucket right here. One thing that's neat about this is you could actually go through and siphon under here on this chamber in the back. Or you could go over to this chamber and siphon it after you pull the light off. I'm just going to do the front for now. So I'm putting this end into the bucket. This end I'll be squeezing with, and of course I've got my little grid on there. So I'm just going to take this in. I don't actually vacuum the gravel in here. Oh wow, really fast action, went immediately. Like I was saying, I don't vacuum the gravel in this because I've got plants, and the plants use the nutrients that are in the bottom, but I'll give it a shot here. It's kind of, yeah, seems to work nicely. Yeah, I did collect quite a few things there. Okay, so normally I would just drain this, not quite halfway, maybe to 40% or so. I want to stop, since this was so easy to start. I'm going to stop, and I want to take and siphon in the back here. Pull the heater out. I've heard all kinds of stories about muck and stuff in the back of this filter, so let me go in here and take a look. Let it go past the tube. Yes. We'll go all the way at the bottom. Well, that wasn't really as interesting as I thought it would be, apart from nearly spilling it all over myself. Doesn't seem to be a lot of debris in there. Well, that's it for this siphon. It's pretty much done its job. And I'm going to set it aside here. It did very well. My goodness, that was a lot easier than sucking it through a hose or trying to navigate that Python in and out. Alright, good job. Alright, I want to pull this off, or actually I might be able to move it over. You may have noticed I've changed the light. This is not the LED that it came with. This is a Tom's. I think it's a 7-watt compact fluorescent bulb. It's perfect size for the smallest spec. It might work for the next one up too, but this does great on my small spec. I'm going to leave it up here so we can still see. Alright, now I'm going to pull out the filter with the bucket. Just do a quick bloop over to the bucket. I'm going to pull out my ceramic biological media. I'll just set it aside over here. Alright. Now what I normally do with this is simply put it in the water that I've just rinsed out. Alright, so I'm going to take it and just kind of give it a squeeze. Go back in. And this is the water that I just pulled out. And that's really all you have to do. If you find this takes a long time, or you really want to cleanse it better than that, then you can swap it with another sponge, or do whatever you like. But this has worked for years and years. There is quite a bit of stuff under there. I think I'm going to use that siphon one more time. Only thing I would like to see on this would be like a clip or something here, so you can clip it to the bucket, because this hose is so thick, it has a mind of its own. It wants to curl up. Could be bad news. Again, I've never done this, so I can't say it's something that you must do, but I'm going to use this new tool to vacuum the stuff out of the very bottom of the filter, a place I normally wouldn't bother trying to siphon out. Oh man, all kinds of stuff in there. Give it just a couple of quick squeezes. If you get your hose positioned just right. Start a little siphon. Looks like there's a lot of snail shells in here. That's cool. I don't know if you can tell the water level's down to about here, and this is a lot lower than, this is probably 50% water change, but I've never wanted to see if I could get into the back, so that's why I did it that low. And it certainly won't hurt. Just do that now and then. Now I'm going to add the filter back and the ceramic. You might notice I don't have charcoal in here, and the reason is you don't really need charcoal. It only lasts a couple of weeks, and all it does is sort of get the water looking a little bit more pristine. But it looks fine without it, and you absolutely don't have to have it. So I don't have any charcoal in this one. I probably will put another bit of ceramic. I always leave a space open in case I want to start a new tank. I'll pack some ceramic in there. I think I just plucked this one out recently. I thought there were two in here. But no. Okay. Alright, so the last thing, let's see, what I want to do now is I'll put the light back where it goes since I've done the filter. And I'm going to give the glass a quick scrape to clean it up. Carefully pushing the snails down. This tank is actually a food source for one of my other aquariums. Yeah, so the snails go to the little puffer. This tank and a few other tanks, that is. I have not cleaned this glass in a long time. Usually I don't have this kind of angle to get on, so. Adding plants to this aquarium does a lot for the biological filtration. Makes it process the nutrients. Actually have something in here that can use the waste from the fish to its benefit, and it's beautiful. So, highly recommend plants, of course. Alright, so we've got one side of the glass. I like to go through and wipe up any excess and also clean the outside of the glass. Get those water stains off there. You can just use a damp cloth for this. I don't recommend using ammonia. That's what we're fighting against. Please don't squirt ammonia into your aquarium unnecessarily. We'll clean the glass. At this point, if you have plants in there, you're going to have to do a little any maintenance or anything you want to do. You want to do that while the water's down. And you take after that's done, you take your dechlorinated water, pour right into the top here. I like to pour it right on top of the plant. It's like I've stirred up a bit of debris. Wow. I'm actually going to have to get some more. I took out more than a gallon. Okay, so now that we've got everything, what I'm going to do is just put the lid back on and enjoy the view. Usually the last thing I do is go back and try to dry off any little water spots. Any little dribbles will make little white spots down the front of the tank. So be sure to clean those off, and you've got your nice new clean aquarium to show off. Don't forget to wipe around the base. Dust collects there too. That's all it takes. I've had this for months and months, or years, a couple of years now. This was one of my first videos. My first official kind of like make it look like a show video was this. And yeah. That's what I've been doing. That's great, Alpha. That was really good information.
Oh, thanks.
But we have one more thing to discuss.
You mean the evaporation problem?
Yes. Yes. So here's a problem. This tank does something really interesting when it evaporates. Now, the water in that back chamber that I've recommended putting a heater in before, the water in that back chamber goes down much faster than the water in the front chamber of the aquarium. So let's take a look at what this looks like over a week's time. As you can see, the water gets lower and lower in the back as soon as it breaks. As soon as the water level gets below the grids at the top that pull the water into the filter, there's actually another one, a hidden one, very far down in the middle. But there's as soon as the water gets lower than that, the water in the back part gets lower and lower and lower. So if you have a heater back there, then it could get too shallow in the back of that aquarium and cause some kind of terrible problem. So my recommendation is if you're going away for a long period of time and you're not going to be around to top off this aquarium when it gets a little bit too low, or do a water change, then unplug that heater while you go on vacation. You don't want, especially if you're going to be gone over a long period of time, you just don't want any problems back there. As far as I can tell, it doesn't affect the way it runs. It still runs fine and does okay. But it will definitely affect your heater if you have a heater back there and it gets up above that line. You know, a lot of them will come loose and they kind of go up and down in there. So you want to keep it down as low as you can. If you keep it in there, or perhaps look for another solution, there are all kinds of other things that are made for small tanks. You can even get one of those ones that are made for the little beta bowls and probably put it in the very bottom one of those discs and put it under the substrate or something like that. So there's a lot of different options. The best one is don't put off topping off the water, and don't put off or unplug that heater, or have a friend top off your water while you're gone, maybe instead of feeding the fish. That's safe. They can add more water if you provide it for them. And folks, that's all we have for you today, but we'll be back soon.
So follow your bliss.
And keep a clean tank. See you.
Hey, can we do that thing where I tell jokes?
Well, I guess we can try that, but I know all your jokes, so it's not really that funny. Okay, just do it.
What do you call a fish who wears a tie?
Sophisticated.
Why don't fish play basketball?
Because they're afraid of the nets.
What did the salmon say when he ran into the wall?
Damn.
Okay, one more. So, what is a trout's main job?
I don't know. You got me on that one.
To keep his ladies off the pole.
That's bad. That's so bad.
There you go.
So bad.
Classic.